I swore I would never start a group practice. I was adamant I never wanted to be responsible for anyone else's livelihood. And then COVID happened, and everything I thought I knew about my business got turned upside down. Today, I want to share how I ended up building both a co working space and a group practice, and what I learned from taking these two completely different paths. I'm Anne, and my journey into expansion wasn't planned or strategic. It was reactive and messy and full of surprises. I built my co working space first because I wanted community without responsibility and because I really wanted to rent this gorgeous old blue house but did not have the revenue at the time to support it. 2 years later, I built a group practice because sometimes life forces your hand. And in this video, I will talk about what I have learned from doing both. So, there was a beautiful blue house with offices that I would walk my dog past almost every day that was for rent. After hearing me pine about it for weeks, my husband finally convinced me to call the number on the sign, or actually, he probably called because I'm a wimp when it comes to phone calls. And the entire house was for rent and way out of my budget. But when the owner and I met, he asked me what I hoped to have in the future. I told him about how I had dreamed about one day having a community space with all different types of therapists supporting one another. We started dreaming about ways I could make it work, and thanks to a generous rent agreement, my co working space, Blue House Wellness, was born. The co working model felt perfect for my personality. I could create an environment where people could thrive, but their individual success was ultimately their responsibility, not mine. So, here's something I didn't expect but now love about the co working model. Every investment I make in the space and community stays with me, no matter who comes and goes. When I invest in new furniture, better lighting, or upgraded technology, that improvement is permanent. When I create programming or resources, they become part of the community culture. When I build systems or processes, they strengthen the foundation regardless of membership turnover. I discovered I'm actually really good at building community. I love creating environments where people can succeed, facilitating connections between members, and developing programming that serves everyone. The co working space has let me experiment with innovative ways to support therapists, workshops, networking events, resource sharing without worrying about how it affected anyone's employment or individual revenue. But then 2020 happened. Suddenly, I was slammed with clients. I had a waiting list of people, and I was turning away potential clients every single day. And everyone I knew to refer to was almost full. I felt like I was throwing away money and hated that I wasn't able to support my community the way I wanted to. So this brought me to the decision I swore I'd never make. I had just turned away another client and decided to post in a listserv to see if anyone was interested in joining my practice. I figured I could just say no to everyone if it didn't feel like the right fit. But what ended up happening was I hired two therapists, then a month later, another, and a few years later, a fourth. My business coach gave me advice that completely changed my perspective. It's never the wrong time to hire the right person, and he was right. Each hire wasn't about reaching some arbitrary business milestone. It was about finding someone who was the right fit for our clients and our culture. All those fears I had about being responsible for other people, some of them were valid, but most of them were bigger in my head than in reality. Yes, I am responsible for providing a supportive work environment and steady referrals, but these are professionals who take responsibility for their own clinical work and professional development. Hiring the right people is everything, so definitely make sure you vet anyone very thoroughly before you bring them on. And here's what I never expected. I actually love the mentorship aspect of group practice. Helping newer therapists build their confidence, sharing what I've learned about private practice, seeing someone grow from uncertain graduate student to skilled clinician, it's incredibly rewarding. And the clinical collaboration is amazing. Having colleagues to consult with on difficult cases has made me a better therapist. But here's the big difference I didn't anticipate. When you invest in people, that investment can leave. You can spend months training a therapist, helping them build their caseload, supporting their professional development, and then they can decide to leave for a different opportunity. That's not wrong, it's just reality. But all that investment in their success walks out the door with them. This piece was harder for me than I expected, not because I was angry, but because I realized how much emotional energy I put into other people's success and how much it affected me when that success moved elsewhere. There's also the practical impact. When someone leaves, you don't just lose their productivity, you lose the investment you made in building their caseload, their client relationships, their integration into your practice culture. So, group practice is also just more complex day to day. managing different personalities and work styles, handling client transfers when someone leaves, balancing individual needs with practice needs, making decisions that affect multiple people's livelihoods. It's not insurmountable, but it's definitely more complex than the co-working model. So, the co-working space. When I invest in the space, programming, or community, that investment compounds over time regardless of who comes and goes. For the group practice, when I invest in people, I see incredible returns while they're here, but that investment can leave with them. For the co working space, I'm responsible for creating an environment where people can succeed. And even though I celebrate their wins and support them through struggles, their individual success is their responsibility. With my group practice, I'm responsible for supporting other people's success more directly. When they struggle, I really feel it. Co-working, I'm building a community of independent professionals who support each other. And with the group practice, I'm building a team of colleagues who work together under my practice's brand and approach. With scalability and co-working, I can add value through programming and community building. Growth comes from more members and better programming. With the group practice, growth comes from adding the right people and supporting their success. It's more personal and relationship dependent. So, both can work, but they're different. Here's what I want you to understand. Both models can be incredibly successful and fulfilling, but they require different personalities and different strengths. Choose group practice if you enjoy mentoring and supporting other professionals, you're comfortable with the emotional investment in people's success, you want to build something through team collaboration, and you're okay with higher complexity for higher potential impact and profit. Choose co-working or an alternative revenue if you prefer creating environments over managing people, you want your investments to compound regardless of who comes and goes, you value independence while still having community, and you prefer building systems over building teams. The biggest surprise for me is I actually love both models for different reasons. The co-working space feeds my community building energy and creative freedom. The group practice feeds my mentorship desires and being able to deliver clinical care to my community. They complement each other in ways I never expected. So if you're trying to decide which path to take, don't choose based on what sounds more impressive or profitable. Choose based on how you want to spend your energy and what kind of impact feels sustainable for your personality. And remember, you can always evolve. I thought I knew exactly what I wanted, and life taught me I was capable of more than I realized. If my story resonated with you, I'd love to hear about your own expansion journey in the comments. Are you leaning toward building a team or creating community? What fears or excitements are driving your decision? And if you want support as you navigate these choices, whether you're considering group practice, alternative revenue streams, or something completely different, I've created a community specifically for therapist entrepreneurs who are building beyond traditional practice. More details in the description. Thanks for letting me share my messy, unexpected journey, and I'll see you in the next video.